You're looking at the Tamron 20, 24, and 35mm F2.8. These lenses kind of flew under the radar when they were announced. A lot of people weren't too excited about them just because they're 2.8, and there's a lot faster and better lenses available. Having said that, after using these lenses for a few months now, I think they're worth a second look. Let's get started. Welcome back, guys, and yes, we're checking out the Tamron line, the newer line that was announced, the 20, the 24, and the 35mm F2.8. And again, if you weren't overly excited about these when they were announced, you're not alone, including myself, but having used them for some time now, there's definitely a spot for these lenses in a photographer's bag, and we're gonna go over, compare them, show you the differences and similarities, as well as just an overall comparison so that you, if any, are gonna know which one is gonna work best for you. So guys, if you haven't seen one of my videos, my name's Stefan Malloch. I do a lot of photography and filmmaking news, reviews, and tutorials. So if you do enjoy this video, if you like this type of content and it helps you out, consider hitting that like and subscribe button and join the community. So guys, here's some specs for you to get you going on these three. So as usual, we're gonna cover all the things that we normally do, but because these lenses are so similar, I thought we'd try to do it a little bit differently today, a little bit quicker. So guys, let me know in the comments whether you like this style or my typical review style when we go through the size, the build, the features, the value, all that stuff. So let me know what you think. So guys, let's talk about the size and the build of all three of these lenses. And as you can see, they're pretty much the same size. They're very, very close in size. The build is pretty much identical between all three. They're built fairly well for what they are. We're gonna talk about price and stuff as we go, but it is a plastic or composite material. They feel good in the hand. They are very light. All three of them are under half a pound. None of them exceed 3 3/4 inches long with the lens hood installed, so you can throw them in your bag and basically forget about them. They're an amazing size and weight for what they are. And just for comparison, here is the Tamron 28-75, the classic. And if we compare it to these guys, you can see that, yeah, of course this is a zoom, but it's about half the size, and it's definitely, I would say, without having the specs in front of me, a third of the weight of this guy. So they are a fantastic size and weight. Now, the 20 and the 24 do come with a lens hood flower style like you see here. The 35 does come with this anamorphic style. It does look a little bit smaller with that, but it's just the lens hood. So kind of a neat way that they went here with this, and I kind of like the look, but all three of these lenses are very equally well made. They're not the best, they're not the worst. Now, all three of them have 67mm filter threads. One thing that I don't care for about these lenses is that the front element, and as you can see here, it actually indents there. There's quite a bit of room, and that's because that front element does go in and out as it focuses. So I do worry about a little bit in the long term with moisture and dust resistance. On the back, we've got a nice sturdy metal mount, and yeah, you guessed it, Tamron's pretty good at giving us that little rubber gasket. So it does have some form of weather sealing, which is great. We've also take note that there is no buttons or switches whatsoever on all three of these lenses. They're very basic, and that helps to really keep the cost down. And again, having said that, guys, these things come in at a phenomenal price point of $350 US MSRP, and currently on sale for $300 US, which is absolutely fantastic when we get into the performance and actually show you what we're looking for. But overall build quality, again, all three have this nice grippy, not too big, not too small zoom ring on here. It turns easily, but confidently, I would have to say. When we get into performance, we're gonna talk more about the autofocus, but as far as the build is concerned with these things, again, it's not the greatest, it's not the worst, and I gave it 3.5 stars for build. Next, let's touch on value really quickly. Again, I told you they're only $300 right now, or $350 regular price, and that is an absolute steal when you compare the performance to other lenses. The autofocus that we're gonna talk about isn't the greatest, and honestly, right off the bat, I will tell you that these are gonna be more geared toward a photographer than somebody that's really heavily into video. That's just the truth, and guys, it's $300, $350, what do you expect? But honestly, this thing's batting out of its league. Comparables, we've got the Samyang lenses, we've got a 24, we've got an 18, but these are kind of in a class of their own when we talk about some of the features like the macro capabilities that we're going to get into here. But as far as value goes, they are phenomenal, and I give all three of them 4.5 stars for value. Okay, so let's talk performance, and this is kind of where they shine when it comes to photography. Again, I recommend these as a stills lens primarily. If you're doing some B-roll and some, the odd shot here and there for video, you can absolutely get away with that. The autofocus is, well, it's not the fastest, and it does have some noise to it. You're gonna get some audible ticks and clicks, as well as some little bit of hunting here and there. They all suffer from some focus breathing as well. And overall, the autofocus, I would say, the 24 I found to be the most confident, and following that, the 20 is just behind it, and then the 35, which I found did hunt a little bit more, but they're very close and very comparable in terms of performance autofocus between the three. And here's an example of some of the autofocus noise that you can expect. This is on the 20mm, so obviously if you're using an on-camera mic, this might be an issue. All three lenses utilize Tamron's OSD motors in comparison to the RXD that you'll find in the 28-75. They're going to be louder and slower, but still capable. Now, despite having 7 aperture blades each, the bokeh of all three of these lenses is actually pretty nice in my books. As with any wide or ultra-wide angle lens, you can't expect miracles because that's not what they're engineered for. However, I like the character that all three of these lenses produce, especially into the macro range. Stopping down, you'll see that quality degrade quite quickly. Chromatic aberration can be an issue on some cheaper lenses, but I'm happy to report that after extensive testing in some difficult lighting situations, all three handle it very well. To keep this video reasonable, I didn't include every aspect of these lenses, so for a more detailed look, check out my full in-depth review on each. So optically, these things are fantastic. They are so razor sharp in the center. In the corners, however, they are going to suffer from a bit of distortion. The 20 is absolutely horrendous. The 24 a little bit better, and the 35 even better than that, but there is some noticeable distortion around the corners and up in the top and the bottoms. You're going to notice that, and when you use your profile correction, it's so extreme that you're going to actually lose some of that quality. So if corner sharpness is an issue for you, well, this might not be the lens for you. But if you are just looking for an overall great shooter, for street photography, for landscapes, for just having fun, you're really not going to go wrong with these things. They're not professional lenses by any means, but they're going to get the job done, absolutely. So here's a few shots that I've taken with all three lenses, and hopefully this helps you decide which focal length is going to be better for you. Obviously the 35mm, you're going to get a bit more zoom, and it's going to be a bit more flattering for portraits, but if you're looking for something nice and wide, maybe consider the 24, or ultra wide, the 20. I thought I'd also mention that all three lenses also work great when it comes to human as well as animal eye autofocus. Here's the difference in focal length between the 20 and the 24, which obviously are the most similar. Between these two focal lengths, let me know down in the comments which one you prefer. So let's talk about my favorite feature of these lenses, and that's the minimum focus distance and the macro capabilities. The 20mm has an absolutely insane 4.3 inch minimum focus distance, the 24 has a 4.7, and the 35 has a 5.9 inch minimum focus distance. They all have a maximum magnification ratio of 2:1, letting you get right in there and get some macro-like shots. It's just a fantastic thing and makes these just so versatile, so fun to go out and just shoot your everyday stuff, again, from portraits to product photography. I've shot a lot of my thumbnails recently with these lenses, and they're just awesome. I love them. So for photography, like I said, these are a definite consideration. And again, for video, well, that's gonna be up to you. So let's wrap up, guys. In conclusion, what are my final thoughts for these lenses? I think for $300 to $350 US, these are an absolute steal. It's gonna be hard to find something with this much versatility, this much sharpness in this small of a package. They're just great all-around shooters. Again, they're not professional lenses, and I wouldn't totally recommend them for video work, but if you're a photographer just getting out there shooting some street photography, wanting that close macro capabilities, wanting a fun overall lens, I can absolutely recommend all three of these to you, no problem at all. So guys, if you like this video, if it helped you out, and you want to become part of the community, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Drop all your questions in your comments down below. And of course, if you want to pick any of these lenses up, I'll leave affiliate links down below as well in the description for you. And like always, make mistakes, be yourself, and get out there and take some more pictures. See you next time.